All right, we are live. All right, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you find yourself. From my end here, it's still morning hour. So just say hello to everyone watching, and that will be watching after the podcast. This is ReThink Tech Foundation, our regular Monday podcast, where we discuss issues concerning to information technology and ICT, and in regards in respect to developing countries, how we can help to bridge that digital divide that do exist between developed world and our part of the world. So welcome again. We have a very special guest on our show tonight, or this morning, or this evening. He's no one else but Mr. Avin J. Billy. I've known him for quite a long time. We grew up in Sonic College. Just to give you a background disclaimer, so you can know that we've known each other for a while. But he has been very instrumental. He's a professional. He's an experienced teacher. He's an administrator. He has over 20 years of involvement with public sector, private sector in Liberia, and he's currently working on his master's. He's already done. Congratulations on that, sir. We do appreciate your persistence in your academic endeavors. He's currently a professor with the Adventist University in Liberia, Monrovia. He has volunteered for different organizations and done different volunteer work back home in Liberia, and he has been very, very much engaged with education in Liberia. So, Mr. Avin, Mr. Billy, welcome to the show. This is ReThink Tech Foundation. Just give you another 1 or 2 minutes to introduce yourself and tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Percival, for having me on your show today. It is an honor for me to be a part of your program. A few months back, I was privileged to listen to just a portion of one of your programs, and then I developed this interest, and then I decided to do a follow-up so that I can know what is happening really. So having a background that is now into communications, I think we have some things that intertwine, so I thought it wise to get in touch with you. It is an opportunity for us to learn, to share ideas, and to see how best we can see our country, Liberia, move forward. So, like you said correctly, I've been in the field of education for a very long time. I started with sociology, I went to education, now into communication, and that gives me a leverage to be able to share experience in a lot of sectors of our country. So it is a privilege for me that we can be together this evening to share knowledge on the topic digitizing democracy, the impact of ICT on governance services.
Okay, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. Usually we have other panelists on of from ReThink Tech. They will join in as we go along, so don't be surprised if you see someone else popping up here and there. So it's usually in interactive section. So we're going to just dive a little bit deeper into why we're here today. We will be talking today about digitizing democracy, right? And we'll be talking specifically about the impact that ICT can have on government services. And we all know that from the background that government offers a lots and lots of services to its people. And that's what government do exist for, right? To provide services for its people. But we live in the 21st century in a digital age. So a lot of governments around the world have moved from providing manual services to digital services, right? So where are we as a people? How can we get there? And that's the reason why and then what impact can that have on the services that government offer? And then ultimately, what impact can it have on its people? So that's why we have the team, the impact of government digital ICT on digital services for our introduction for today. Okay, so we'll just move into it. I'm just going to give you the ball right now to just give us an overview of our topic for today, the impact of ICT on digital services and digital democracy.
Okay, in our discussion, we are going to be looking at different aspects of our topic into segments, but we want to begin with having a definition of what digitizing democracy means. So, for the word digitization is a process of converting analog information into digital format. It requires information being digitized through a process called encoding, which converts analog signals into digital format using computer programs. This is how Tech Target defines digitization. How do we digitize information? So there are processes. We may use either one or more of these processes. It involves scanning, optical character recognition, recording, sampling, audio or video being digitized. Now, the next key word that we need to look at is the word democracy. And democracy is a system of government by the whole population or majority of the population, where the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. So when we hear the concept democracy, there are other things that come to mind similarly. You think of a state that is being governed under a system of democracy.
Right.
You think of control or an organization or group of people where the majority of these members take decisions that affect everybody, or you think about the practice or the principles of social equality. Now, coming towards what our topic is, digitizing democracy, we want to put the two words together. So we now ask, what is digital democracy? It is a digital democracy refers to the use of digital technologies such as the internet or the social media that helps to facilitate democratic processes. In recent years, there has been an explosion of social media platforms, which has become important tool for political participation. This is CSS definition of digital democracy in 2022. We also look at social media closely, where social media consists of key platforms that promote political participation, and it gives space for individuals and groups to express their opinions. They engage in discussions that have to do with political issues, social issues, economic issues, those things that are important to them as a people. And it also helps the government to work in a more transparent manner. It also helps government to be accountable to the people. Social media can also be used to organize political campaigns and events. We see how they are done when we have political rallies and people go on the social media and they tell us, what their plans are, what their platforms are, and the rest of them. And you can also use social media to mobilize your support base groups for a particular
Okay.
cause. Yeah. So in time past, it was more difficult for people to get to a lot of people within a short period of time. But
Right.
as time goes by, it is much more easier for us to get to thousands of people just by a click of a button on the social media page. So when we digitize democracy, what is happening is that we are bringing democracy to our people as a government, where we have them involved in key decision making processes, where we open up to them. They are aware of what we are doing, that is transparency. And
Right.
our people are also able to hold us accountable as politicians, as leaders, so that when we make promises during campaign periods, we
Yeah.
can come back to them and we deliver upon those things that we have promised. So it is possible that we might have a percentage that is high up there or that is low, and then we
Right.
have something that we can work towards. So
Right.
democracy in this form is a far better way that we interact
Mhm.
with our people, and this is the importance of uh, having democracy being digital that's in this age.
Okay. Thank you so much for that brilliant overview of digitalization of democracy. So we will move on to the next topic that we'll have in line, and we're talking about the impact that ICT is going to have on government services. And as we say in our introduction, government offer thousands and hundreds of services all around the world.
Mhm.
So if we digitize democracy, we want to see an era where the services that government is also offering to its people can be digitized, right? So we want discuss a little bit about the impact that if you digitize your services, what impact does it have on our government, or what impact does ICT have on government? What role does ICT play in government delivering services to its people? You did mention and you did highlight a few of them toward transparency in
Mhm.
your intro and your overview. But let's dive a little bit deeper into what role can ICT or digitalization play in government.
Okay, here we would then the term of e-governance comes in,
Right,
where it is the application of information and communication technology (ICT), and it
right,
helps government to deliver services to exchange information, communication transactions, and it integrates various systems within the government.
right.
Now, how is this done? E-governance raises transparency. It helps to make uh, the system more transparent for people to see what is happening.
Okay,
E-governance helps the citizens to have an idea on what is happening in their government.
right.
It also helps us in terms of transparency, in terms of accountability, efficiency. Now, what people used to do for a week or within a month can be done within a shorter period of time
Hmm.
because we are using digital, technology.
Right,
A lot of work can be done within a short period of time, so it
right,
speeds up the efficiency of a particular agency or a ministry. It also
right.
helps us to perform our duties more effectively, and it helps to bring about inclusivity wherein our people are included in decision making processes. And how is this done? Sometimes you want to do a project, maybe you are a representative from a particular district. You may not have the opportunity to meet everybody one on one to tell them what you want to do and get the feedback.
Yeah,
But if you have a means of reaching to a lot of them, maybe through the social media, you can do
right.
an opinion poll and people can give you the opinion. So if you want to construct an hand pump, for example, if you want
Yeah,
to build a bridge in a community, for example, maybe two or three other things. If your respondents are in majority telling you that they want the bridge built instead of the
yeah.
hand pump, then you have an idea through this interaction to know that this is what is more important to our people at this time.
Yeah,
So,
if I got you very right, we talking about where our government officials, mostly our senators, our representatives, and our
mhm,
different government agencies, right,
yeah, yeah,
have a platform, a web portal, right, where they can gather votes from their constituents. Because
yeah,
as we rightly said, it's not possible for you to reach out to all your constituents at a time.
mhm,
It's capital intensive. You're going to take a week, 2 weeks to have town hall meeting from in all places. And I'll give an example, right?
mhm,
If you're from a particular district, as you said, you want to do, a project, hand pump, bridge or whatever it is, you can have, as you said, an online pool that people can have access to, or you can have an online conference. You can set up digital hub in the different district, like town halls or the centers. You can stay right in
mhm,
Monrovia, right, and have an online conference with the people and interact with them through that process without you necessarily being in that district or 10, 15 different subdivision within your district to talk to the people. So what it does, it cut down costs, and it have all your citizens, being involved in that process.
yeah.
But
So,
if you look around, let me ask you a question. If we look around Liberia specifically, What do you see? Do we see, a lot of mostly government agencies, mostly to our senators and representatives? Do they have like online presence? Do they have website? Do they have these things that they can show to their people? They can show to our people, what am I doing for you? What am I working on this week? What policy have I presented? What bill have I presented to the House? Like how can the people know about the working of their representative?
There are a few of our lawmakers that have some internet presence that is
Okay.
consistent with their base, but
Okay.
I think a lot of them need to improve upon whatever measures they have in place to reach to the people.
Right.
Because it is important, maybe they need to hire some people, that have that have this technological background to help them.
Yeah.
But it is important for us as leaders to have a platform that we can reach our followers, because sometimes it is difficult you having a one-on-one interaction with everybody for you to know what is happening. But if you
Yeah.
have, for example, you have a chat room, like I'm a teacher, so every class I go to teach, before the end of the first week, I create a WhatsApp room for my students and I.
Right.
There we send information related to the class, and everything
Right.
happens in there. So if a student is not in school today, sometimes you might send a message, but you are in the chat room, you know what is going on. So
Right.
before we write a quiz or a midterm exam, it is announced in the chat room and you follow. So
You
we
follow.
want our leaders to have this internet presence where they interact with their followers, and it helps to take away, a lot of huge burden from our shoulders. Because if I'm residing in Monrovia because that's the capital, and I
Yeah.
come from Bombing, I come from Lofa. It should not be like I have to drive from here to reach to where I come from
Yeah.
before I can interact with my people. You can
Right.
start some online, and then you can, maybe when you get there, in-person meeting will just be a shorter meeting, and you
Right.
finalize one or two things here.
Okay.
So it also helps for government to reach out to other governments. So
Right.
the digital platforms also helps us in that way. It helps us as government to reach out to one another, maybe ministries and agencies. I don't know. Maybe do we have a platform where ministers interact with one another to know what is happening? Maybe deputy ministers or directors. Do we have a synchronized communication, platform where our government policies are being looked at? And because we are not just talking about one ministry or so,
No. No.
somehow all of us as ministries, we are intertwined. We have
Oh
a
yeah. Yeah.
goal
Yeah.
for the nation. So it is important that we have a platform that we interact with one another as a body, maybe as counties, or officials,
Yeah.
the different municipal divisions, districts, and the rest of them. Even businesses, we need to
Yeah.
interact with our business partners. So, like for example, commerce is the one that leads in that direction. Do
Right.
they have a platform where they interact with other businesses and they share idea on what is happening within the business area? These are things that we need to look at, because it will help us in order for us to share information. Information is power. Information is knowledge. So when we share information with one another within that sector, it helps us to move a lot at a faster pace as a people. So the main focus of e-governance or electronic governance is to provide transparent, equitable, and accountable service delivery to the citizens. You should be able to
So
tell your citizens, this is what we are doing at this time. Sometimes people will have issues, and maybe sometimes it is out of ignorance that they are not aware that the government is doing so much in this sector.
yeah.
So let's have a platform where we sufficiently give information to our people. We should not be
Right.
there to do a rebuttal or to react when the wrong
Yeah.
information is out there. But let's
Yeah.
be at the forefront where we tell our people what is happening, and they can follow us in there. The aim of e-governance is to facilitate and improve quality governance, and ensure that people's participation in governing processes through electronic means like emails, the websites, like you talk about. If our ministries and agencies have the websites up where, it is updated. We are not saying that you should be in 2024 and you still got something on 2022. No.
I
Yeah.
was just
So
I was just
yeah,
about to say something about that.
on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, up-to-date information, are
Already
provided
regular
for.
update.
Yeah, yeah. So in this way, it helps for people to not ask you a lot of questions, because you have a platform, you have somewhere that people will go. I mean, I know that we have a digital divide. That is one of the challenges we'll come to. But
Yeah,
those who can follow, those who have the technical know-how, I mean, they don't have to ask you that question, because they already know where to go to get certain
to find
information
information.
as they,
Okay.
yeah, they move on.
All right, that's very brilliant. We'll come to, if I don't forget, we'll chip in something. It's big. Uh and I'll just chip in something before we move on to our topic, right? It's big. I'll just give a scenario. Take for example, I was thinking about this morning, right? Uh we decide to digitize, let's say, our driver license or birth certificate,
Mhm.
right? And the government talking about creating jobs. Think about the number of jobs that will be created in the different ministries and agencies
Mhm.
if government is fully implementing ICT in its full spectrum, like across, not half-hearted things that you see website today, and as you said, it's not updated for the past 6 years. It hasn't been updated. There's no new update on that, right? So, if, for example, the Ministry of Health digitize all her services, they give birth certificate, they give vaccine record, the medical records, and a bunch of those stuff, right? And I can sit down and just request my medical record. I can sit in Nima County, in Grand Julia County, in wherever I find myself, and request my birth certificate. I go online, fill the form, right? And that can be connected to the postal service, right?
Mhm.
Assuming the ministry wants to mail out your birth certificate to you in Grand Julia,
Yeah.
how does it get to you? The postal service comes into that, that place, right?
Mhm.
So the citizens who are filing for birth certificate pay a little bit of fees for the postal service, so that the mailman, so that the postal service can deliver your birth certificate to you to wherever you are.
At your doorstep. Yeah. Yeah.
We've created a job right there. We created a job for someone at the post office to bring someone for transporting the mail from Morovia or from that ministry to Grand Gita. It has to go either by road, by air, whatever means we have to. The postal service want to get it, to those places by. So if you think about it, if you digitizing government services, I mean, there's bunch of jobs that comes with that unintended consequences, right? But those are good
Mhm.
consequences. You digitize and you realize you open door for other ministries and other agencies. And we even talk about printing right now. You can have a government agency just dedicated to printing government communications and these documents. What happened in Liberia right now? You realize that every agency has their own little printing section that they print, which is good.
Mhm.
But you have a centralized agency directly just for printing. So all do those documents are printed, signed at those ministries, and they routed through a system to that agency, and they print it out, and they make sure the postal service has a representative there that can send it out to what is going. And what it also brings is an address system.
Mhm.
Then it brings about how do we map our communities to have addresses for our homes, because we want to deliver mails to our people's homes, right? So that's employment for people who come from university that go out to map these places to have an address system. So there's a lot of jobs that comes with government implementing ICT and just digitizing all of its services.
Services. Yeah.
We did list some of the benefits. We'll go to some of the benefits of those things. So we looking at, do we talk about the reduced cost on government if we digitize your
Yes.
government
Yes.
services?
It's one of the benefits. It reduces the
Okay,
cost.
so reduce the
Yeah.
cost on the government.
Mhm.
And I did hear you say about increased transparency and accountability, right? Because
Yeah.
as you said, there's a tracking system, there's a trail in the digital world. It's not
Mhm.
like a manual system, but you can just delete the paper, you burn it, and that's it. No one knows what happened. But within the digital world, there's a trail,
Yes.
right? There's a
And
trail.
those, yeah, we'll just go through these benefits as we go
Yeah.
through them. we'll see maybe other things will come up. But the first
Yeah.
one is that it provides an ease of accessing and storing and sharing documents.
Yes.
You do not have to go in one building and you have to climb to the, I don't know, third floor or what floor to begin to search for documents that were provided 13 years ago or 25 years ago. And
And that that
unfortunately,
that,
if
that comes to
yeah,
another point. I'll bring back. Sorry, because it comes to
yeah,
a what called data center,
uh-huh,
and that creates additional job. Data center is
yeah,
like a big place you build to store data. It creates job for the guys in IT come from school.
yeah,
So
yeah.
go on.
So you don't have to have this fear that if a building got burned today, it means that we cannot have access to any of our documents.
Data. Yeah.
No. But with this knowledge that we have in this new world, your documents are saved. Even if you take my computer from me, it is saved on Google Cloud or
Somewhere,
somewhere that,
somewhere
yeah.
there.
So it makes it easier for us to have access to our document, for us to store our document, to share document as well.
Right.
Now, data analysis, is another aspect. It is easier for us to
Wow.
analyze our data. I mean, within the twinkling of an eye, you can give a command to the computer what you want to filter out, and it gives it to you very quickly. It also helps with improved customer experience. Look, we should not have in this age people going to get passport and they have to be seated there by 5 a.m. and they will wait online. And in most cases, you call it before you go there, you call in your friends, mama, you know somebody to the place because you need help to have this thing process for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if you are supposed to have your passport in 1 week, it goes to 1 month. No. Some of these things are things that when we have on our digital platforms, it makes it very easier for us. I was in Europe and I had to go visit my wife in Kenya, and then she just sent me the link. I went there, I click on the link. It took me to where I had to provide my data, passport.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, within 2 days. I mean, less than 2 days because I mean the platform is updated. You send
Wow.
the information and then they give you an automatic reply. We'll get back to
Wow.
you in 2 days. If they need additional information, they tell you this is what we need. And
Yes.
I sat there and collected my e-visa before I could travel there. So these are things that will help us. Your customers will be happy with you to have a positive story that they can give for us
Yeah.
as a government. How long does it take to open your business? If you want to register a business, that's another wahala. People who go there, they
Yeah.
will complain. Yeah.
They'll tell you that.
So you also have improved political literacy. It helps us as a government to educate our people on what is happening. Because if, for example, you want to have a referendum, I'm speaking because there was a referendum that was held some years ago, and
Yeah.
I want to believe people were not sufficiently informed. And
Yeah.
so somewhere down the line, they just decided that they will vote no across the board.
Oh wow.
So the people felt that it was safer to say no than
No,
to
then to
select
say
something.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to believe that there were other good things among those items that were listed, but
Yeah.
information didn't go out to our people sufficiently so that they would be aware of it. So it helps us as a government to give information to our people. It also increased the operational efficiency of our government agencies and ministry. You would accomplish more in less time and using much less resources. It also
Right.
helps with increased interactions with political representatives. So those are our leaders that are way up there. Like I said, if they have a means that they can interact with one another on a regular basis, it helps them to be far ahead even before they meet to have the in-house, maybe final or formal, voting process is done. They can do a lot of things online before they can even get there. It also increases transparency and accountability. We'll keep saying transparency and accountability because these are two key pillars that helps
Yeah.
us as a people. If
Yeah.
your people are not aware of what you are doing, they may likely not follow you. In fact, they will even revolt against you.
Yeah.
And if you are not accountable to them, if they do not see a means by which this is you receive 50,000, how did you use it? And as soon as no, this is not the way it should be in this
Yeah.
age. You should have a platform where everything is displayed and people can see what is happening.
Transparency.
Now, it also helps with an access to a large and diverse audience. If you have a platform as a leader, you will be able to get to a lot of people within a short period of time. And it is always good that you have in your audience people with diverse opinions.
Right.
Accommodate them. Do not single them out and you want to block the account, or you want to do something like, yeah, no. But as a leader, let people come on board with diverse opinions. It will help us to grow. It helps us to show us where we are weak. And because don't put yourself in that state where you only listen to things that are pleasant in your ears. No. But have an opinion that comes from diverse background where it helps to build it up. It also helps with engagement with the audience in real time. You do not have to wait to get feedback after 1 week. No. If you have, like we are going live, you have this program that you are interacting with the audience, you get feedback with them, from them in real
Yeah.
time.
Instant.
And then lastly, it helps to reduce costs of operation. Yeah. So those are few things that we have outlined that are benefits for us
Yeah.
as a people if we decide that we will digitalize our operations.
And just to, throw a little bit of light on the key benefits of ICT in government services. I'll start with the reduced costs, but on the consumer side of things,
Mm-hmm.
you realize everybody one password and kind of over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody traveling like, bro, you want a passport, you gotta go to Monrovia. That's a cost
Yeah. Yeah.
to the individual. To travel from Monrovia, you gotta find a place to stay in Monrovia with a family member or a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and then you gotta money to get around to the foreign ministry. Like you might be going back and forth to fill out a
Mm-hmm.
form, come for
Mm-hmm.
fingerprint, come for this one, come for that one, and then that's it. But that's a huge cost and that's a huge burden for the citizens or the customers. But if these processes were digitized, that your application process, you can stay somewhere in Grand Chile, use your phone. There's a platform and
Mm-hmm.
apply for your passport. And then I go back to the shipping to the post and telecommunication, and the
Yeah.
post office can mail your document to you. But before that process, we can have a national database where we have gathered everybody's digital ID, fingerprint, everything else is in the system, right? So to identify Mr. John Brown, to make sure that yes, he owns the password, this data belongs to him, go to the digital, government data center or the government database, because the government have had a biometric system, right, where we have got captured every individual in Liberia into the database system. So if you apply for a passport at the foreign ministry, that foreign ministry system is connected to the national database. It goes there and check who is Mr. John, who is Mr. Yon Tuesday. It pulls out your record and it brings your entire digital information. Yeah, he registered this place as a fingerprint, and we have showed that yes, we are issuing the password to the right person,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you said, well, how do we capture babies at the hospital? So babies are born, we can take a fingerprint. You can have that service at the hospital. There's
Yes.
nothing wrong. That is it's a device that you buy and you register the moment children are born at the hospital. They are registered into the national database, and you track them
So
from the date of birth,
yeah.
which is
So
even good. Yeah,
yeah, there are so many aspects that we can even look at this digital processes from. So take for instance at our universities.
yeah,
I remember some years back when I was at UL, it was a difficult thing. In fact, every time you were issued a grade sheet, you had to find somewhere to keep a copy of that grade sheet, because it is most likely that you will go back after 1 or 2
yes,
semesters and they will tell you have not done this course. So fast forward to today, how easy is it that I can go back to UL and I can get my transcript within a day?
yeah,
So if we have our system such a way that it is optimized and all of our records are
yeah,
up there, we will not have to. So like you go to hospital, for example, and then they give you a card the first time you visited EW hospital. I'm just saying EW. It is not. It may not be
yeah,
happening there. And you went
yeah,
home and maybe the card got missing from you. And then upon your return, after 2-3 months, you are ill and you go to the hospital and tell you, say, go bring a card. No, because if I if I'm here and I tell you I've been here before, you wouldn't maybe need my name, and
That's
then the
it.
system should be able to put out everything about me. You can't tell
Absolutely.
me that I would not have access to, I mean, seeing a doctor today because I have to go and find a card before I can come
And
back.
bring it.
Yeah, these are things that we need to we need to do away with in this age.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's there's a lot we can do, and the bottom line I will always say is that it creates jobs. It creates jobs. They need a job that will need in Liberia. There's no job, there's no job, there's no job. Digitalizing our government services creates thousands and thousands of jobs. It definitely does. All these things about we talk about data center, the government taking biometric and keeping the data center somewhere. You need network technicians, you need computer programmers, you need people to retrieve those information, you need people to back the data up. Like you need people who have internet, knowledge about the internet,
yeah,
about wireless
yeah.
internet, about the database design, database administration. Like it comes with a bunch of things, right? So that is job creation. Digitalizing government services creates job. And I say that every day. And I think the government, we have to be intentional about these things, and focus on these things to implement them. Otherwise, I was talking about job. The government can create job. The government can create job. There are ways you can create
That's
job.
that's the next place I was going. It has to be a goal for us as a
It,
government.
it, it
Yes.
has to be as the
Yeah.
people we. I mean, I see the national policy we're talking about in the background before we came on. Right, it's a very good policy document. It's a very good policy document without a good, pillars and good things in it. But how far have we gone with the implementation? How much money have we put in there in our budget, in our national budget for these
Mhm.
things?
To make it a reality.
To make it to just take it from document to a reality. That
Mhm.
yes, we want to digital government services in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. We don't want people traveling to Monrovia for birth certificate. We don't want people traveling to Monrovia to get passport. You can just stay at where you are at. You understand? And even if you're not traveling that far in the different districts, you can, like in Rwanda or Kenya, one of those places, they have hubs, right? Where
Yes. Yeah.
you can print those things locally at those places. But the end goal is not to have those kind of system. You can have it printed, at a central location, and then you put the postal service into use. Because I don't remember when I saw ever received mail in Liberia from in
I
Nima
don't
County
know.
from the postal service. We have it, but it's not working. We can use it for those kind of processes and those kind
Mhm.
of purposes, right? Once you digitize your government services, there are things that government documents that government will have to the agency will have to deliver to its customers, to its client. And how does it get there? That's when the postal service come into play, and they
Mhm.
create jobs. They need more people to deliver to all the 15 counties,
Yes.
right? You need trucks, you need logistics, to move, the documents or whatever document it is from one point to another point
To another
to
point.
your
Yeah.
customers. So that create jobs. So we these are things we need to look at as a people, and really, strategize and be intentional that yes, and have, a goal in mind and a budget, like this is what we're going to allocate to this project every year to make it a reality, because it's good for Liberia. It's
Mhm.
good for the developing world. It reduces costs, as you said, reduces a lot of burden on the government, and it brings about, more importantly, transparency. Everything is tracking the system.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next point. I think you have a case study that you
Yeah.
want to talk about. One of
Okay.
those successful uh, uh, countries that have successfully implemented some e-governance, and then I'll chip in
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
some that I also have for my end, and then we'll talk about it in regards to Liberia and other countries in
Okay.
West Africa. What are we doing?
Mhm.
Like what can we do in that direction? And then we'll after that we'll look at the obstacles, things that are preventing us from being as a country
Yeah.
being able to digitize or implement ICT
Our
in our
system.
government
Yeah.
services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
I'll
like
I'll give the time to just
yeah,
dive into your case
it
study.
is good that we look at some practical examples, things that
Yes.
have happened,
Yes.
maybe how others, had their success stories, the challenges they had, the lessons that
Right.
we can learn, from those, because it will help us as a people. So
Right.
this example, a case study, It's about the uses of AI in the Georgian
Okay.
government. Yeah. So in Georgia, in the year 2003, there was this revolution that took place called the Rose Revolution.
Yeah.
And after that revolution, there were a lot of positive things that came up for the nation. So e-governance is one of the things that they initiated in the year 2009. And thereafter, a lot of innovations have taken place where they have public service delivery, public procurement, public finance, and a lot of transparency, accountability institutions that were brought up using the AI. And according to this study, RDFR study, they identified 5 government institutions that were using the AI, enabled digital system.
Yeah.
Uh, they managed to analyze and visualize education management. They were also able to use AI to conduct, some Facebook or social media post analysis for
Yeah.
visitors that came to the country. They
Okay.
wanted to know what their experiences were, and it helped them as a people to develop certain sectors. So, like we're talking about the tourism, for example, in Liberia.
Yeah.
If we have people visiting Patawi or they're visiting Lake Piso, there should be a form of having this feedback gotten from our
Right.
people, those who come there, so that they tell us where we are going wrong, just in case we are making some errors, and then we can
Yeah.
work on them as a people. Then the internal affairs also decided that they will use AI in a more complex situation this time around for investigative purposes
Oh yeah.
and yeah, and for administrative proceedings.
Okay.
So there were some areas that some issues came out that were discussed. So like in the security and the rest of them, it was found out that they were using some programs that were taken from Russia and Belarus.
Belarus. Oh
So as
boy.
a result, yeah, as a result, there was an outcry. We're talking about the challenges they had now.
Yeah.
There was this outcry from the citizens because they were having this feeling that what if Russia decided to attack us? They can use that system
Yeah.
and they can put down whatever we have because we took it from them. And
Right.
so they decided that they will make some adjustments where in terms of security, this time around it will not be like one person or one entity is the one controlling everything.
Right.
So going back to the issue of transparency, for example, if we are conducting an elections in Liberia and we decide that I will do away with the manual system, we want to do
Hmm.
digital, elections.
Yeah.
Who are those that will be controlling the software? Is it going to be one person that will sit in Monrovia and he can manipulate that data within the
That's
twinkle
a
of an
key.
eye?
That's a great
If
question.
representative A was in the lead and then you look, B has taken over? No. So some of the policy, analysis has been made and they said no. In this area, key people should be able to have access to this data so that what I'm doing in Monrovia, somebody else is monitoring it at, other areas, and they use like the press, for example,
Yeah.
some other watchdog institutions in the society. These are people that will help so that when issues come up of this nature, there's a way that people can manage them and they can always go back to the drawing board, see where we are falling short and how best we can work on them. Because there's one key thing that we should have at the back of our mind: the public perception about these things.
Yeah.
If you want to implement a program where you are using a digital platform, there should be sufficient education so that people are aware of what you are doing. Because even if you have a good intent, if that intent
Yeah.
is not clearly communicated to the rest of the people that are following you, they may
That's the
likely
problem.
not follow you. Yeah. So there should be this information sharing way where people give you feedback and you hear from them, and as a result of the feedback giving, you tailor your programs in such a way that it reaches to them. So in there was this response that came from the government after people said, they said, no, we took this in from Turkey and the rest of them. sometimes when it is good to be transparent as a government, when your people raise issues, do not use one lie to cover the first lie, and then you will continue lying until you reach a point people will not trust you as a government, especially when it comes to these things where we are using technology. Be open enough, be transparent enough that people will see what is happening and they can follow you easily. So, in the case of Georgia, the lessons learned: number one, you should analyze the critical risks. You should be at the point where you see the ethical aspect of your work. You look at transparency, you look at accountability, and you look at the manner in which these new ideas will reach to your people. You should look at human rights, for example. If you are taking personal data from me, what are you going to be doing with it?
Yeah.
Are you going to be using my data in a negative manner where you just sit and say, everybody that comes from this tribe, let's find them in a country? No, it should not be used for that purpose.
Yeah.
So the data collected from people should be protected, wherein somebody will not just go hack that system and they get my personal data and it's flying up, in the sky.
Right.
No. Yeah. So people should not also use this digital system for economic and political ends. Do not use them because you want to have edge over the other candidate. So whatever information that is supposed to come from the district or from the county, you maybe get half of it and you keep the other one. No. So for example, if in a particular district you have 50 polling places, you can't go and tell people you have 20 polling places. No. Because the other opponents in the race should know that there are 50 polling places. Even the observers, the independent observers, should know that there are 50 polling places where they can all have access to them and they can
Right.
all be there to witness the processes. So in that way, you are not using this tool as the political advantage for your advantage and then disadvantage
Right.
somebody. And then the next thing is that you should prioritize tech literacy. So you should be at a position where you are able to provide sufficient education, recruit the experts in this field, that they will be the ones that will help to carry the message to the rest of the population. So in this way, you are bringing people on board that they are sufficiently informed about what is happening. And then the last
So
thing
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
you should share information with the public. That's very important. Keep your public informed. Let them be abreast with those new technologies that you want to introduce in your system. Those things are the challenges and the rest of them. Let them be aware of them. In that way, they are able to follow you from the first step to the last step.
Okay. So I just want to narrow down to a Liberian case study with respect to the prioritizing tech literacy, because with all of what we were explaining and talking about ICT, government using ICT for digitalizing its services and implementing
Services, yeah.
ICT. The key component to that is the workforce, right? The professional people to man these services and develop these systems. Do we as a country, does Liberia as a country have lots or the require or needed professionals across different communication domains, different IT domains to be able to fully implement ICT in government? Or what are we looking at? Is it like, could we spread over a period of time, or can the government establish a national institute, right, of science and technology where we are grooming our own people? Or that could be a department at the government, the public universities, right, where we are producing experts in these in ICT, so that when we are ready, when we are fully implementing these services, we're not relying on other people from other countries to actually do this for us. But it's our own initiative. We have our own people in there. We have ourselves there to develop these things. It's where is Liberia when it comes to ICT education? At our public
I want to
university, and then at our private universities.
I want to believe that we have experts in our country if we look for them. There are
Okay.
Liberians that will be home, some might be
Okay.
abroad, If we
Okay.
because when it comes to ICT, there's something that goes along with the security aspect, which is
Yeah.
very important. You can
Cybersecurity.
have it, yeah, you can have it in the hands of somebody that may want to do something with it, the negative, before you get to know, I mean, something has happened. So I want to believe that there are Liberians that are qualified in this field. And even
Okay.
if we do not have them now, we can groom them so that over a period of time, we can have these experts into the different areas that we can trust them to mount
Right.
these in the services and work for us.
Okay. And I know the president recently visited said, but Georgia Tech is trying to establish a partnership with the University of Liberia, which is a very welcoming
Yeah.
news in the ICT sector for our country.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we can get to be able to enhance and build that capacity when it comes to ICT
Hmm.
is needed. As you said, I believe that we have professionals around the world and even in Liberia. I know that a lot of young kids I've seen who are passionate about ICT,
Yeah.
passionate about technology, and they want to get involved, but the resources, the infrastructure, and just a lot of stuff is also missing in that is the infrastructure, right? And just to we got 10 minutes to go, just to buttress
Yeah.
a little bit about that. Can you just give a little bit about, I mean, I was in Liberia last time. Internet, we all know it's the issue. Less than 1% of the population, I would say less than 1%, but only put have yeah, internet would be mostly Maruva, right? Apart from people using a mobile phone and stuff, there's
Hmm.
you already don't have internet penetration a lot in the country. So what can the government do in partnership with private sector? Because you need a lot of private sector investment in that area, right? The government
Hmm.
looking at do that. So what kind of partnership we're looking at just to be, because for government to implement ICT, all of these digital services we're talking about will be online, right?
Yeah.
It's through the internet. It's not physical, right? So you need the
Hmm.
infrastructure for people in Nigeria, for example, to have access to the internet. There, the kids in the public school, they can go online, access Google, and do research and the rest of the stuff. It require internet access. Like, where are we with that infrastructure when it comes to?
I think in this line, government has to partner with a lot of private institutions
Okay,
so that they do not only have the infrastructure, but they can train the needed manpower to mount
right.
these different services at the different institutions. So
Okay,
a lot of training has to be done. A lot of funds have to be put in for the building of these different structures across the country. So it has government alone will not do it.
yeah,
It is capital intensive. So
it
it
is.
requires partnership with the right people that will help us in this direction.
Okay. All right. That's brilliant. And you had the case study on the Georgia. I would you give us one or two case study about Africa itself, and we know in
Hmm.
Liberia we have the mobile money, right? But the mobile money is not from the
Yeah.
government; it's from a private company. So
Hmm.
it's good. It's welcoming. The government have been using it to even pay people and do a lot of other stuff, which is it's a good thing, and its adaptation by the government, is good, but that's not for the governments from the private sector. That's also about private public government partnership where private
Hmm.
sector can develop that and we can also use it, but the government can also develop its own system, its own services, right? When it comes to payment platform. So we'll go across our own geographical location, which is Africa, and then just highlight one or two other countries that are really making headways when it comes to uh,
Digital.
ICT
Yeah. Yeah.
being implemented at the national level and with intentionality. I mean, they were intentional about it. They didn't just talk about it. They put money
No.
into it. They put resources
Yes.
into it. They developed the workforce, and today they are reaping the benefit of those services. So you spoke about Kenya. You've been to Kenya here. There, your wife is currently there, and you were talking about the your visa to go to Kenya. How the entire process was done online. You just got a link from your wife that you clicked on, and
Yeah.
you did the process, and the e visa was issued to you, which is outstanding. Like 30 years ago, you have to go find a Kenya embassy or wherever you are
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
apply
Yeah.
for to apply for that visa to get there. So right from the comfort of your home or whether you find yourself, you are able to get your visa. And these are the kind of services that we're talking about. So the government services we're talking about, the bunch of different services government offer, right? From So like for example, in Rwanda, for example, it's a very good case study. They've done extremely well when it comes to government services. Going digital. They've done a lot. They have like 200 plus different services that the government offer that is digital. You don't have to go to the physical office, like registering of the business. I remember when the current uh, commerce minister took over, he said they were working to digitize that process in Liberia, where the registration of businesses,
Hmm.
where you want to register a business, you can go online and the process is seamless. You don't have to go to the office or the paperwork and stuff. It's a interactive process online where you can just fill it up and you can have those things available to you. So those are all services that we can see
Hmm.
online, right? Registering your child in school, public school services, right? You don't necessarily have to go on the school campus to register your child, right? You can have a system where you can sit on your computer at home and register your child. But all of these things we're talking about, they don't just come by, in a thin air. You need infrastructure that we were just talking about. How do we get the infrastructure? You need
It,
access to the
it, it
computer.
requires yeah, a lot of
You need
planning.
access to computers. You need access to everything else. And that is where the government has to do well with public public institutions, right? Like public schools, for example. I mean, I was in Sunny College last year, and I've stopped by the public school. Like, there's no computer lab. It's no existence. The teachers don't even have a computer in the teacher lounge that they can use to connect to the internet. That should not be something difficult, right? Even if the school cannot have a fully functioning lab, the administration can have a fully functioning little IT hub where they have the 3 or 4 computers connected to and connected to a printer that a teacher can use for research. He can use for to do different things, right?
Hmm.
And we don't even have that. So it's the government. We have to be intentional, as I said, about those processes, so that when we want to implement it, you already have people, like tune in with the process to use this system. Because what happens if you have a system that you don't have trained people to use it, then the system becomes dormant,
Yeah.
right? So it's like the double-edged sword. We wanted to digital government services, but we want to train a digital literate citizens, people who know how to create email account, who know how to check their email, who know how to go online and search for information, and the rest of the
Hmm.
stuff. They don't have fear of the computer and stuff like that, right? So we need that trained force. And you can start doing that from the public schools, from elementary schools. There's a country, I think, they just Rwanda, that implemented every child has a laptop in elementary school, junior high school, and high school. And they made that possible. They put money into it, and every child in that place is growing up with a computer, learning different things as they go along. So by the time they come
Yeah.
out of high school,
They're
they
already
are good
computer
to go.
literate.
They are already
Yeah.
computer literate. So we can implement that. Those things are possible to do. So Rwanda, as I said, is one of those very good examples that have implemented over 200 different government services. I mean, your certificate of residence, you can do it online. Uh, you can pay for your driver license, foreign travel documents,
Hmm.
and just a bunch of things that we can do online, and that reduces the burden on government, reduces the cost on both, the citizens and its people.
Hmm.
All right, you guys want to chip in there, and then we
Yeah.
got
We
by
and
2 minutes,
we are
3 more minutes.
closing now. We just want
Yeah,
to
we are.
say that digital democracy, it refers to the digital technologies such as the internet and the social media that are at our disposal. And e-governance has to do with application of information communication technology for delivering government services, the exchange of communication, and the rest of them. These are things that have come to help us as a people. Let's make maximum use of them. Let us train people. Let us put resources into this sector so that it helps us as a people and as a government, so that our operations will be more transparent, will be more accountable to our people, and will include our people in decision making that are beneficial to us as a nation and as a people.
All right, thank you so much, brother Avi. We want to say thank you for today. So that's just a recap of what we did today. We're talking about how do we digitize government services, ICT into our government services that government offer, and what the benefits are for us as a people. And also said that it helps to provide jobs in different sectors, and they cut across, different sectors. So I've been Yon Toze, some people call me Perceiver, which is okay. And this is ReThink Tech. ReThink Tech Foundation is a nonprofit organization. We operating mainly for now in Liberia. We are based in San Quentin. We've got an ongoing project in San Quentin to provide ICT hub for the citizens of that town or that. So this just our contribution to all of the things we're talking about. So we're not just talking that government should do things, right? We are also involved in the process of helping to create a digital, literate society where people can make use and they can know how to use the system. So that the government is implementing these things. You have a citizenry that is ready to use the system that the government, is developing. So we are working, we say one city at a time or one county at a time. We go from county to county, but we are starting from in Nema County. We'll move next after the first project finishes to another destination where we help the community to establish a computer lab, and we'll fully furnish that with equipment for the use of the community, and we'll be training people there, having conferences and the rest of the stuff. So we got a lot of good stuff from ReThink Tech coming forward to our people. So that is our own way of contributing to that process to help to digitalize our society and our citizens. Well, thank you for watching. It's been a great show. It's been a great time. It's been a great having our brother on today. I hope it's not your last time on the show. We look forward to
No
many
problem.
different engagements in the future. There are a lot of
I'm
there
with
are a lot
you.
of things-
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
fully with you on this.
okay. There are a lot of things we can do. We can implement. We can work together to be able to buttress the
Yeah.
work that the government is
Okay.
doing to provide
Mhm.
digital services to our people in Liberia. I believe that no one else can do it but us. We can take initiative, although you can ask other people for help, but it's good for you to take initiative. Other people can join you in the later on in the
Yes.
process.
Okay.
So it's been a great show. Thank you for watching, and you'll be watching the podcast after. We'll also tell you thank you.
Okay.
So let's do our part. Let's do what our little we can do to help our country succeed. You got a last parting word, and then we will be signing off.
We just want to say thank you to you, Perceiver, for giving us the opportunity to be on your show today. We look forward to being of help in any way that we can to help our government, our people, so that they see the light, that technology is a way, RCT is a way that we can make
Yes.
use of it, and we can improve our system, we can improve our services as we go along as a people. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, my brother. You have a wonderful night, and my greetings to your family.
Okay, okay, goodbye. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, you're welcome.